Good evening and welcome to our Wednesday Creative Living series. It's our warm and open space where we come together to listen, to share, and to grow. Here we explore ideas, new ideas. We ask questions and we support each other along the way. So whether this is your first time or you've been part of this circle for many times before, you are very, very welcome and thank you for being here. Your presence is important and we are truly, truly glad that you are here. In this space, there's nothing to prove and no need to be perfect. We just come the way we are and trust that life, that God, that Spirit, it's here and we meet us here. And as we keep showing up and practicing these principles of light, of truth, we begin to know that our tomorrow will definitely be better than our today. With each step, each insight, each small act of alignment, we create a brighter path ahead. Because we know all things work together for our good. One where we live more fully in the truth of who we are. So today's theme might stir something in you. It's called My Biggest Hater. My biggest hater. It's about those moments when the harshest voice we hear isn't coming from the world around us, but from inside our minds. But let's be real, have you ever noticed that the voice tearing you down isn't always coming from outside? We've all heard of haters out there in the world, and those who criticize, doubt, and belittle others. And yes, when they speak, their words can sting. But if we are honest, sometimes the one doing the most damage isn't out there. It's right here, right in our head, right within, deep within. Sometimes the unkindest voice isn't from a stranger. It's that whisper inside that says, "You worthy hardly." Every step you take will just lead to another mistake. That voice, it can be subtle. It whispers. Dreams like that aren't for people like you. Those very quiet voices that discourage you. We don't always notice it at first, but over time, the whispers can shape how we see ourselves and what we believe is possible. Because those whispers, they go with us everywhere. And if we are not careful, if we are not mindful, that voice becomes the narrator of our lives. Because it lives within. Today we are going to shine a light on that inner voice, not to fight with it, but to understand it, to quiet it, and to make space for a gentler, truer voice to rise in its place. But how does that voice get in there? That's what we are here to explore. How does that voice get so deep within us that it follows us all along. Anywhere we go, that voice is there. The mind is not just a thinking machine. It's like a sponge, a camera. It's like a running tape recorder that never stops collecting the mind that you have, the mind that I have. From the time we are born, we start absorbing messages from the world around us, like the sponge. And here is the catch. The mind doesn't always fact check before filing those messages away. Anything that is thrown at it, it takes it in. Think of your subconscious as a storage room. It doesn't ask, is this true? It simply will ask, how often have I heard this? Whatever it's thrown at it does not confirm if it's true. All it does is, I've heard this so many times. And it says to itself, repetition becomes reality. And familiarity becomes fact. It's like stacking boxes over the years. Each time someone says, you are not good at that, another box gets placed in that corner. Every time you tell yourself, I always mess things up, another box is pushed against the wall. Eventually, without realizing it, the room is so packed full with those boxes that there is hardly space for anything new. The danger is that your subconscious isn't checking the labels to see if they are lies. It will just take them in. It just keep what it has been handed. Whatever you hand to it, it will just keep it. And just stack it all there. And if all it's been handed are words of doubt, of limitation, that's all it has to work with. But here is the good news. You can start replacing those old heavy boxes with new ones, filled with truth, with kindness and possibility. And little wonder, in the scriptures it talked about, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Out of all the messages you filed, you put away, it just flows out naturally because the mind is filled with those. Just as repetition builds false beliefs, repetition can build the true ones. The more often you hear, I am capable, the more that box gets moved to the front. The more you repeat, I am worthy, the more space it takes up in that room until one day it's the first thing your mind reaches for because that's what it's filled with. And that's why we encourage everyone to look at that mirror and speak great things to that person. Take in those words wherever you can get it. Speak to yourself. I can do it. I am whole. I am complete. I am healed. I can do exceedingly abundantly and above. As you keep saying these things, you're stacking that subconscious with great ideas. And isn't that what the scriptures teach us? That whatever overflows from the heart will shape our words. And whatever shapes our words will shape our lives. So what begins as other people's opinions, criticisms, or doubts can slowly turn into our own inner voice. What you've constantly been hearing, what your subconscious has been taking in. It's over time becomes who you are. At first, it might feel like our mind is just protecting us, keeping us from feeling embarrassed, making mistakes, or taking risks. But over time, that same voice can build walls around us, keeping us from growing, dreaming, and stepping into more. The tricky part, most of us don't even realize that some of those voices aren't truly ours at all. They are echoes of what we've heard before. So often, for so long, that they've settled in. They've settled in and started speaking as if they belong to us. Think about situations you've been in so long that it has just become the norm. Some people are so used to things not working that it's just natural for you to wake up the next morning and expect that to be. Because that's what you're used to. That's the norm. But we are grateful that we have the power and we can do something. But we can choose to notice them, question them, and begin replacing them with words that set us free instead of holding us back. We can never overemphasize the importance of what we speak, especially to ourselves. The words that you speak, they are powerful. Again, they are sharper than two-edged swords. There's a woman named Nina who took a painting class in her late 40s. At the first section, she hesitated before putting the brush to the canvas. When asked why, she said, "When I was 12, my art teacher told me I had no sense of proportion. Said my horse looked like a dinosaur." That comment, one line spoken decades ago, had shut the door on her creativity for 35 years. Not because of that teacher, but because she began to say it to herself. For any time something comes up to create, she remembers that I'm not good enough. She tells herself, I'm not artistic. I'm not good at this. Don't embarrass yourself. In the class, the moment she picked up the brush and painted anyway, she cried, not because of that painting, but because she realized she's been carrying someone else's opinion as truth the whole of her adult life. What opinion have you been carrying for so long that has shaped your life? What people have said? That your parents or teachers or friends or family that made you not to move forward. The good news is if you can program it, you can reprogram it. The beauty of the mind is this: it's not fixed. It's not stone. It's not cast on stone. It's more like software. And we are the ones holding the keyboard, the password. If our internal hater voice was learned, it can be unlearned. If it was downloaded from the outside world, it can be deleted and replaced. The mind is constantly adapting. It's always learning, reshaping, and making new connections. This is what science calls neuroplasticity. The brain's built-in ability to change its structure and pathways based on what we think, what we feel, and what we do over time. You have the ability to change any situation. Nothing is too difficult or is too hard or too long gone that can be changed. You have been created with that ability, with that power, that you can do all things. This is what our classes are all about. We are not stuck with old beliefs, and we are not trapped by past programming. Just because we've thought a certain way for many years doesn't mean we have to keep thinking that way forever. Remember again, there's so much power to do anything for change in the present moment. The brain can form new wiring, which means the inner critic, the voice that used to tear you down, can become an inner coach, the voice that builds you up. You have the power to change any situation, anytime. You can change your day anytime. Think of your brain like a field full of walking paths. The path you've taken most, the critical thoughts, the old fears, they are wide, smooth, and easy to follow. because you walked them so many times. You've taken that road, that pathway so many times. It's easy to go through it. The paths you've never taken, like self-encouragement, believing in yourself, speaking up, forgiving yourself, and feeling joy without apology, they are overgrown and hard to see. They are covered with doubt, old thoughts, and other people's criticisms. Because you never taken that way, you do not always take that way. You do not go to the mirror and speak to yourself. You do not encourage yourself. But here is the beauty of neuroplasticity. Every time you choose a new thought, you take a step down a new path. At first, it feels awkward, but the more you walk it, the clearer and more natural it becomes. And the less you travel those old negative paths, the more they fade into the grass. So what new thing would you do? Will you wake up every morning and even if you're just saying, I am blessed, the day is blessed, and everything is working out for my own good? Start by declaring those things. And before you know it, it becomes a norm. And you go into the day, what? Expectant. Because what you expect, you will see. If you expect good, if you expect abundant, if you expect divine orchestration, if you expect alignment, you will see that. But it starts with a step. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens by intention. Nothing just happens. Every choice, every new response, every affirmation is another step on the new trail until one day it's the main road your mind takes without even thinking about it. It becomes the norm for you. Now you always be talking about a lifting. Because you always be thinking about a lifting. And you always experience the lifting because that's what the totality of your mind is filled with. Change doesn't start with fighting the voice in your head. It starts with noticing it. You notice that voice. Before we can shift our thinking, we have to realize that there is a voice there. One that comments, one that judges and narrates out every move. For most of us, it's been speaking for so long that we don't even notice it's separate from who we are. That's step one, to notice the voice. But don't become the voice. When you can hear it, you've already taken the first step toward freedom. Because the very fact that you can observe, it means that you are more than it. You are not the voice. You are the one listening. You are the awareness behind it. So the first is we notice that voice. Imagine sitting in a movie theater and watching a loud, dramatic film play out on the screen. That movie, it's your mind. The voice narrating the doom, the failure, the shame, that's not you. That's the old script. What we practice is catching that voice in the act. That voice that when you're walking towards something, it slips in an idea. What if you fail? Sometimes it might even remind you of the past and say, what if you fail again? And what happens most time is that we are all enthusiastic walking towards something. And once that thing comes in, we just feel like our energy is sapped. And we just go back, relax, and start pondering, what if you fail? What if I fail? What if I fail again? And sometimes to catch that voice, we have to hear it spoken back to us. Let me share a story called from Facebook that paints this moment clearly. A moment where the voice of the inner critic isn't just in our head, it's sitting right across from you. The mirror moment when the hater has your voice, everything like you. It doesn't wear claws, carry knives, or raise its volume. It whispers in a very familiar tone. It uses your voice. It knows your memories. It sounds like just enough like truth to be dangerous. A woman was sitting in a cafe feeling grounded, grateful, and accomplished. She'd been performing poetry for over 2 decades, touching lives, holding space, and lighting fires in the heart. Then a woman sat next to her, smiling but sharp. You've been doing this for how long? Over 20 years. Still performing around here. Have you ever been on Broadway? Have you ever met someone who wanted to take you off the market? So no kids either? You're not married yet? Don't you want something more stable? You are how old and still chasing that dream? Have you thought about slowing down and settling? Don't you ever wish you'd chosen a safer path? The woman was calm, but her breath got shallow. She tried to answer graciously, holding her space and her peace. But the questions stung. The questions, they were too deep, too true. Each one laced with judgment, condescending curiosity disguised as conversation. Finally, she asked, "What's your name?" The woman leaned in and said, "Same. I am you." That voice, it wasn't criticism from the crowd. It wasn't a stranger trying to knock her off her center. It was her doubt speaking, her disappointment, her fear dressed up as a friend. "And the dark corners of your brain," she said. "I give voice to what your subconscious is saying. You've swallowed the words of others for so long, you think they are your own. I'm glad you can hear me now." This, my friend, is how the inner critic operates. It speaks like it knows us because it was formed in us. From the voice of parents, teachers, failed lovers, false friends, unmet dreams, society's timelines, and all the unsolicited opinions we never asked for but quietly kept. And unless we call it out, we think it's us. Unless we hold it up to the light, we believe it's true. But the woman at the table stood up. She gathered her things. She looked the voice in the face and said, "I know my life is beautiful. The question is, do you?" And that voice disappeared because the truth doesn't argue. It just shines. Again, we cannot overemphasize the importance of speaking. Say the word. When those things creep in, what do you say? Then the step 2 is to speak back with truth. First, we notice. The second, we speak back with truth. Once we catch that voice, we don't have to fight with it. We don't even need to drown it out. Instead, we speak back with clarity. We say things like, that's an old belief. I'm not that person anymore. That was their opinion. I am not required to keep it. That voice is familiar, but it's not the truth. Even if I feel afraid, I am allowed to try. What is your own word sentence that you speak back to that inner critic? When it rears its ugly head, what will you say to that inner critic? And what we do in these classes is to notice those voices. When we notice it, we expunge it immediately. We do not want to make it comfortable in our being, because it will start by taking the side corner to the central place and begin to control. We don't have to yell at the inner critic. We have to stop agreeing with it. Whenever a negative thought arises, please write it down in one column. In the next column, write a compassionate truth to speak back. Not fantasy, but a liberating truth. The inner critic will say something like, you always mess up. The next column, you will say something like, I've made mistakes. I've grown from them. I've learned from them. Nobody will take you seriously. I am growing in confidence every day. You are not smart enough. I am learning and evolving all the time. Do not give that inner critic, that subtle negative voice, space. Just like we do Control Alt Delete, delete immediately. This is reprogramming in action. And then step 3 is we reclaim the pen. You are the author now. You are in charge now. At some point, you have to say enough. Enough of rehearsing the wound. Enough of playing that story. Enough of rerunning the past. Enough of letting fear ghostwrite my future. And enough of the self-pity, the poor me story that keeps me small. Enough, enough, enough. I'm tired of this status quo. You are not what happened to you. You are not the limits someone else believed for you. And you say who you are. Who are you? Complete, whole. You are the one who decides when the page turns. You are the one who chooses what the next chapter says. You stand in your authority. You are not a passive character in a story someone else wrote. You are the author. You get to choose a new language. You get to name yourself something new. You get to move from, I always sabotage, to I'm learning to support myself. I don't belong, to I'm making space where I am. It's too late, to now it's always the right time. You are the pen, the ink, and the permission. You've been created with it. It's been there all along. Use it. And the psalm talks about this power that's available to us, and we can use it. Why are we not using it? So if there's one message to carry home tonight, it's this. You are not the enemy. You never were. That voice inside that criticizes, questions, or belittles you, it's not your essence. It's an echo of old moments, forgotten, false, misunderstood pain. It may have sounded like protection, but it has no space in your future unless you permit it. Tonight we remember that beneath the noise, beneath the narrative, there is one profound truth. You are wise. You are capable. You are already whole. The real you is not the voice that doubts. The real you is the one who hears the doubt and chooses love anyway. Your voice matters, your truth matters, and your life is too important, is too sacred to be narrated by an inner hater who doesn't even know who you are. Who are you? You are the author now. And what do you want to do? We want to write according to our truth. And so it is. And so it is. Thank you for listening.